an act of war. That's what California Governor Jerry Brown calls the Trump administration lawsuit, challenging the state's immigration policies.
When it comes to these different laws, there is no doubt that the police can do their job. Now, the federal government ought to do its job and not blame California.
In announcing the lawsuit, Attorney General Jeff Sessions criticized several lawmakers, including Oakland's mayor and the Attorney General. Genevieve Wood, senior advisor at the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, joins us now. Welcome back, Genevieve.
Good to be here.
What if California doesn't comply? Then what happens?
Well, I think they're going to be forced to comply. I think because what's going to happen here is the federal government's going to say all those federal dollars that flow into your state, we're going to start cutting more and more of those off. And it's going to be very difficult for a state that's in a very difficult financial situation already to play that game.
What about families? Will they be separated, deported? How will that all work?
Well, right now, look, here's the bottom line. Nobody is coming in and saying we're trying to find everybody here who's illegal. We're going after criminals who are doing things like recommitting crimes that many of them have already committed crimes. These are not just one-time criminals. We're going in and trying to find the bad guys and get them out. That is the role of the federal government. It's not about breaking up families and sending those folks home. It's finding people like the man who killed Kate Steinle and making sure those folks don't commit further crimes.
Speaking of crimes, let's move to gun control. The president wants tighter background checks and an increased age limit, yet Republicans aren't doing anything on Capitol Hill. What do you think is going to happen? Why are so few Republicans backing the president?
Well, I think there is action actually taking place on Capitol Hill. Senator Hatch in the Senate, Senator Rutherford in the House is putting forward legislation that would be more targeted towards states taking action, creating dollars for anonymous hotlines so people can call and say, look, I see somebody who has a problem, which is, we know in the Florida case, the federal government didn't pick up on that.
The FBI didn't. The FBI was called.
That's right.
So why do we think a hotline would work?
Well, making sure that that it may not just be for the FBI, but for others, but also making sure that there's dollars in the budget for localities that want to arm, whether it's putting law enforcement on school grounds or perhaps arming teachers, but allowing local schools to make those decisions. That is being debated right now. I think you're going to see more of it. But as we well know, Lauren, this is a school safety issue. It's not just a gun issue. And there's a lot of things that need to be examined. So I don't think Congress should act within a week. I think the president's called for some things, and many of them are good. But we need to look at what actually works, not just do something, which is what always happens after one of these horrific scenarios.
But let me push back here. Then nothing is done.
Well, that's because most of the things that people want done are things that don't actually work.
Okay.
And when they call for that, they don't have the evidence to back it up, even in the face of really bad things. This time, I think we're actually having a much fuller discussion, and hopefully we do something that actually will work.
And I think the teen pressure is helping lawmakers start to really sink their teeth into what works and what doesn't work.
That's right.
Let's move on one more time to Texas.
Yes, my home state.
Oh, I didn't know that. The
Texas.
primary was yesterday.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday? Yeah. And, or Tuesday, I guess. Yeah, Tuesday. So Democrats turned out in record numbers, but Republicans came out in record numbers, 1.5 million versus 1 million. Could Texas go blue?
Well, this has been the story for like the last 2 or 3 election cycles. The Democrats keep saying Texas is turning blue, and every time I call my family, they're not yet, not yet. Look, I mean, there's no doubt that Democrats are hoping for that, and because of immigration and the changing demographics and the like, and a lot of people moving from places like California to Texas, there's been some concern. But the reality is, it hasn't shown up on the election side of it. That continually Republicans are outperforming, and here Democrats
didn't win.
No. And they spent so much money.
Yeah, no, they didn't win anything.
No.
Right. All right. Interesting discussion. Thank you so much, Genevieve Wood, senior advisor at the Heritage Foundation.